Hello, everyone. Good morning. Today is Wednesday, December 23rd. Um, and welcome back to OOpS, with the title referencing the fact that through my entire life, people have told me that I'm always overly opinionated about something, regardless of the topic. And today, I guess I'll start off with talking about Christmas because it's in, I think, 2 days. That's the reason why I mentioned the date. And um, let's just talk about it, okay? So this morning, whenever I first got up, I uh, actually just logged onto YouTube, like I'm sure everyone else does, and I started to watch videos about other countries doing Christmas, like Japan and China and Korea, because I'm an Asian studies major, clearly, and it just really like kind of blew my mind because they have so much. Here's the thing about COVID and Christmas. I think that's the thing that's on everyone's mind right now, or at least it's on my mind, that I can't really enjoy Christmas the same way that I want to, as I think most people can't. Um, but here's the thing that like kind of irks me a little bit because um, I watched this video where this couple went around, like downtown, wherever they are, whatever country they were in, and I had Christmas decorations up. I had stalls ready. I had people enjoying stuff, people enjoying food. And let me tell you why that's the way it should be. However, in America, we're doing it completely wrong. So the difference in me watching someone from America doing that exact same thing and watching someone in another country do it is basically just because of how serious the virus is. Like, I'm sure everyone else knows this by now, but Americans have just been awful at dealing with the virus. We have all the worst cases in the whole world, I think, or something like that. And whenever I see friends or family or people go out and do those things where like they're downtown everywhere, they're taking pictures in front of cafes, going to bars every single night. They are purposely doing it because they want, I guess, to feel some sort of normalcy. But the thing is they don't even try to help the situation. So let me explain. The thing about like in other countries is that they have the virus pretty well, I guess, pretty well under control compared to America. And so people wear masks. It's not a political issue. People understand the importance of personal space and hygiene. They understand that, okay, if something happens and I can't hang out with this group for a while, then that's okay. I can stick to doing what I need to do. And then afterwards, when everything's fine, we can come together and do stuff. And in America, it just really hurts my heart, to be honest. It hurts my soul, hurts my being to where I would see people going out bowling every night or going ice skating or going to bars not wearing any masks, thinking that because they're in their small group of 15 people or a small group of like 10 people, that being a joke, 10 is not a small group, um, that they'll be fine from the virus. And the sad thing about it is I know people in my life who have gotten COVID and thankfully they recovered. Some people have not, but thankfully most have recovered. Um, and I it's just such a waste of humanity's, ability to help one another. Like through evolution, or even if you don't believe in evolution, or through the ideas in which humanity is based upon, like our society is based upon, not just American society, but general human society, is that we're supposed to take care of one another, we're supposed to care for one another because we are the same thing, essentially. We are, in essence, the same being, just with different skin colors, different eye colors, different hair colors, different, body structures. We're just the same thing. We're the same product, essentially, just different, different versions of the same product. Um, and I just can't. I don't know if I can just deal with this anymore because there's so much going on in the world outside of America. that people truly seem to care about another person, even in just the fact that they'll wear a mask without while putting it over their nose, or even in the fact that, they understand personal space when it comes to the virus and they understand how it transmits and things like that. People in America, generally, I at least what I have to deal with in my area, where I live through two states and I know people through two states. Um, None of that seems to work. Um, People get angry over, certain things that I feel like they shouldn't, and that's just my opinion. I don't think they should, because I can clearly see for the rest of the world that you can do things a certain way and it can be helpful and it can help a lot of people. It can help stop the virus from spreading. It can help stop a lot of people from dying. Um, and I just don't know why Americans in particular are just not capable of feeling empathy, I guess, from the other day that I talked about, or things like that. Um, Bringing back to the point of the video, I watched it and it really got me in the Christmas spirit. Like it really did, because Christmas is all about being with people you love, not necessarily the presents or things like that. It's having special moments and doing things with others that you care about. And Christmas this year in America is essentially just foregoing all idea of the virus being a thing. Just acting as if it's not there. Um, and to put it in perspective, if anyone's watching this in the future, I think near Thanksgiving we had about 2,000 cases a day, and now I think it's about 3,000 cases a day. So that's a lot. ERs currently have no space for anyone, and mostly any state. And here's the thing about that too, is that Americans, they're not accepting the consequences. If they get the virus and they get really sick, then they call the ambulance. The ambulance is going to say, well, I can't come pick you up. I have, three people waiting for me to come and get them because they're dying. And then they'll just be like, well, it's their fault. The people who are sick will be like, oh, it's the ambulance's fault. No, it's your fault. um, and that's the point in which I think Americans, they're always going to think they're never wrong. And I know that is a human quality, but I feel like in other countries they don't they understand who they are. I think Americans have a really hard time understanding who they are. And because of that, they're not able to accept the consequences of the things that they do because they think maybe someone else did it. That is not their problem because they don't understand who they truly are and how their actions have consequences. So overall, it just kind of gave me a mixed feelings because things like that really make me happy as like a person, being able to enjoy those certain types of small things with people. However, I can't do that because of the virus, and frankly because a lot of people around me um, just don't think the virus is real, for one. Some of them don't think the virus is real, and then other ones, they view it as something other than being serious. And that's kind of a topic that I've been having to deal with for the entire year, I guess, where I've had different opinions to other people. Um, and that's okay. Different opinions is perfectly fine. Um, and the last thing I'll say about that is people who are going out, who are doing all these things and putting more lives at risk for no reason, they think that it'll just affect them. Like they'll be the only one getting sick. So they'll be like, well, if I could just get sick, then now that's my problem and I deal with it. No one has to deal with it. But I don't think they realize it's kind of dumb. It would seem like common sense, but they don't realize that they can get literally thousands of other people infected in a matter of minutes if they could. Um, and so it no longer is just their problem; it becomes everyone's problems. And I feel like that is something so sad that I have to say about my own culture where I grew up, that the majority of the time our only showcase to the outside world is that we're very narcissistic. Um, we're extremely patriotic in a bad way. Um, we don't care about other people because we're very independent. Overall, it's just a very hard place to live, at least for me. And um, that's one of the reasons why currently I am trying to find jobs abroad to truly just escape from America. I know it's kind of funny because a lot of the time America is seen as a place of freedom, a place of choice. However, with that choice, it comes with a lot of consequences, and it comes with a lot of hurting other people. With when you have more choices, more freedom, someone's bound to get hurt. And for me, that's just not something I can deal with personally. I would much rather have not someone tell me what to do in some cases, but I would rather someone understand that, okay, well, you may have your own choices, but you live in a society, so you choose to be here. So you have to follow our rules. And I think someone who, lives in a society like in America, if we have rules, they should be followed because the rules theoretically are meant to help people. And I know that those regular, like most of the time, rules like that do not, because America's politics and everything is so messed up. Um, but other than that, um, I appreciate the moment while it lasted for the good maybe 5 minutes where I watched the video, seeing how other people can be happy, and how the place where I want to go, the places where I want to go, I know I'll be accepted for the way I think rather than being here in America. So, for the sorry for the first sad little segment. Give me just a moment, and I will find something else to talk about for my overly opinionated discourse. Hold on. Okay, I'm going to talk about ice skating because I think that's been on my mind for a while now. Because 'tis the season, and ice skating in particular has shown up a couple times recently. In the past few days. Just for funsies, maybe it's the world just telling me I need to become an ice skater. Who knows? um, but it all started when I rewatched. I finished it in a whole day because again, I'm a anime nerd. It's only 12 episodes for an anime nerd like me. That's like easy. That's like a whole lunch period. Um, I watched an anime called Death Parade, and this anime is about people who have passed on. They from the land of the living, they go to a place kind of like purgatory, I guess, where they play games, and whoever wins. Oh, sometimes. The point of the games are to judge human beings on their actions, and then decide if they can go to heaven or hell to be reincarnated or to enter a void or a void of nothingness. And while the people play these games, they don't have their memories, and so they're complete, like blank slate essentially. But as they start to play games more and more, they start to get their memories back and how they died and the worst part about themselves, and then that triggers their true nature, whether if they're a bad person or a lying person or things like that. Um, excuse me. And for the last few episodes, I don't think it'll spoil anything important, but for the last few episodes, there's a character where she. Oh, excuse me, someone's calling me. Hello, I'm back. I'm sorry. Don't you just love it whenever you have phone calls with family members and it ruins your entire day because they treat you like you're a child? Anyway, oh yeah, the ice skating. So ice skating came up a lot in Death Note because the character at the end, she realizes that she used to be a professional skater, an ice skater, and it really just got me thinking about how I just don't care about ice skating because let me tell you why. And a video. My friend sent me a video of like an ice skater dancing to like a K-pop song, like while skating. I understand it takes a lot of like grit and a lot of like professional athleticism to like do it, but it doesn't look that cool while they're doing it. Sure, they can do a couple flips, but a gymnast can do that. And this is not to like hate on ice skaters. This is just my overly opinionated opinion on it. Um, you just kind of flip and then you just kind of scoot along the ice. Now I know that it's really hard to do. That's not what I'm talking about. But you just kind of go from one side of the rink to the other side of the rink and then wave your arms around a little bit and then maybe do a flip. And that's really cool. But I feel like you could achieve the same idea of like feeling the energy and like feeling the vibe of whatever you're doing. Like ice skaters use songs to like essentially dance on ice, right? And like musicals on ice, like see those things are cool. Like musicals on ice because you're doing more than just going from one part of the thing to the other one. One part of the rink to the other rink. That's interesting. Like entire musicals like translated from a stage to an ice skating rink, that's talent. See, that's what I and there's so much more that goes into it. Like there's like pulley systems, there's costumes, like more costumes, there's tons of people on the ice. It's not just one solely focused on one thing for the entire time. And the reason why dancing is better, I feel like, than ice skating is because dancing allows you to do all that and more because you can coordinate with other people. Um, you can do absolutely anything and move any other way because you're not limited to the ice. Like if you fall you fall on your ass on the ice, that's gonna hurt. But if you fall like dancing and just be like, oh, okay, it's just a wooden floor. It's like, oh, it's just the grass, or oh, you can get back up. But if you fall on the ice, that fucking hurts. So that's just my opinion on ice skating. And yeah, I think it's cool and all, but dancing is more cool. Anyway, um, yeah, now I need to find something else to talk about because the call ruined my train of thought. Hold on. All right, let's talk about gender norms because that's something on my mind recently. Because for a little bit of background, I grew up in a place where everything was very, very strict. Like boys do this, girls do this. Boys look like this, girls look like this. And ex- there's no indifference. There's no in between. You either are this or this, and you cannot be anything else. Um, like women weren't allowed to wear pants. Like women can't be preachers because it's only like a man thing. Um, Women had to take care of the house. Like men are the only ones that can work. Women need to sew. Like all these very strict gender norms. And I've realized since being by myself for so long that like duh, they're fake as hell. But also in that, like I realize that things that we make gendered are not, like for clothing, for example. Um, and how backward it is too, because for a longest time, like women shouldn't have wore pants. Now they do, and so like except for in the very traditional society where I come from, or the traditional place where I came from, women wear pants in the regular, right? And but men can't wear skirts. But men wore skirts a long time ago before women did, or like they both did at the same time back in like France and all that shit, like ancient France or whatever. I don't know, fucking know. So that's the thing, and I hate the idea of like having like a certain cut on like a shirt or like a jacket or like pants. I understand that for some purposes, like women have breasts, so like there maybe needs to be a little bit more the neck part in the front maybe needs to be deeper, so they can like fit things. And for men, sometimes the front part of pants need to be like bigger so they can fit things. Like I understand that, and that's what it should be instead of thinking that they're only designed for this and this. There should be like extras, like I feel like a lot of clothes should just be designed to fit either or, should be unisex. And if they really, they should make like another product or like another version of it, um, for like people who like specifically want that type of look, and then keep it the same price, you know? So that's just a whole nother thing on like uh, the economy and things that, you know, I think. But um, here's what I don't like about gender norms. And I really, as a member of like the LGBTQ community, I have the utmost respect for anyone in the community, but not the utmost respect for people who don't deserve it. um, so a lot of people in the community have always been like ostracized, you know, clearly, duh, just for, you know, wearing a different shirt or like painting their nails or something like that. But let me tell you why that's not culture. That's not like queer culture. That's not, excuse me, that's not LGBT culture. Because what you're doing is you're essentially validating, right, the pre-existing norms that society has made you feel that you're not worthy. You're validating that by basically going against it. If you're not going against it, if you weren't going against something, then that thing would not exist. There's no reason to go against it. So you're validating it in a sense. You may seem like you're going like anti-culture, but without the culture in the first place, there will be no anti-culture. So for things like boys painting their nails, like honestly, I think girls and boys both look just fucking ugly with their nails painted. I think any, you know, like, it doesn't care who you are. It could be, you know, like a 90-year-old lady and a 15-year-old boy, and I would say both of your nails look ugly. Like, I don't care. That's just society saying that, you know, whatever. Um, and then the other thing is like clothing. Like I said before, like I feel like everything should be very unisex, and then if you want a certain cut or a certain look because of like, you know, parts that you have, or you know, you want to look a certain way, then those things should be available to you, but it should not be the norm. For like guys to wear skirts, like I don't care. Like for girls to wear, I don't know, like I don't even know what. Cause see, this is the other thing. Cause girls can wear mostly anything. Like I'm sorry, I'm a man, and I'm gonna use my male privilege to say this, but girls can wear almost anything, and it'd be perfectly fine, except for them showing their breasts or anything like that. The men, on the other hand, have so much things they have to deal with in society because, as women do too. You know, don't get anyone mad at me, and you know, whatever. But there's so much that men and women both deal with, but so much that men do deal with because they have to look a certain way. Like they can't wear makeup, they can't wear certain types of clothes. Where women can wear makeup or not makeup, they can wear this type of clothes or not that type of clothes. There's so much more that they can do because they, I don't know, like I don't know why women can do things and men cannot. I'm not a, you know, like a gender professor. I don't know, like a gender and sexuality professor. I don't know the reason why, other than just society sustaining the fact that men are have to look this way and women have to look, they can look any way they want because they're just women. I don't know. I don't know. Um, but yes, with that fact, like I said, like I don't care about the skirts. I don't care about men wearing makeup because that's not gay culture. That's not queer culture. Queer culture is essentially being different from something else because of society saying that you're something you're not. Like that's anti-culture to me. Like painting your nails is not anti-culture. Like that's the bad anti-culture. Let me rephrase. That's the bad anti-culture. The whole point of the queer community is to bring together people who do not fit into the standard, and it just happens to be, um, that we don't fit into the standard of regular society. And by regular society, I mean cis and heteronormative people. So notice I didn't say straight because you can be trans and straight. You know, those types of things should be like what should really show in the community versus, you know, like, oh, I'm like a 15-year-old boy and I wear nails, so therefore, you know, I'm gonna do a death drop and go on a RuPaul and you know things like that. That's not queer culture. That's like queer pop culture, but like fundamentally, I don't think that's queer culture. Um, queer culture is being queer. It's identifying things that identifying parts of yourself that do not fit the standard, and then having the like the understanding that you can do things that go against society, or you can just be yourself. And being yourself is not just like painting your nails for funsies. Those are aesthetic things. You're essentially doing aesthetic things to please either your someone else or the part of you who feels like you have to do this because other people told you you could not do that. um like being yourself is truly just letting all those things go away, like all the aesthetic things, all this and that, because those are things taught by society. That's the bad anti-culture that I'm talking about. That's like the things that we don't need in a queer community. In a queer community, it should be everyone accepted for everything they do, but because they're doing it for themselves, not because of society. If a queer person was like, yeah, I identify as, they them because I feel like gender is like a construction of society, there you go, that's culture. Because it's not allowing like certain parts of current society to determine what they are, because biologically there's male and female and intersex. Like those are the things that people are born with. To go against that as being like, okay, well, I feel somehow in my soul and heart that I'm not like that. That's queer culture versus, I grew up as a boy for like 20 years, but then I decided to, wear a wig, go to drag, and do this. That's just because, you know, you're showcasing what we currently think about femininity and how you want to change it. That's just not culture to me. I feel like that's just approving, that's just continuing certain values of society that are harmful to other people. If anything, this is why I think possibly like the idea from The Giver. Um, I don't know all of about the book, but I understand the gist of the book, that where like everyone's essentially equal. There's no color. There's no like norms. I guess you just do it to do it. Um, and I feel like that's honestly what society should be. Um, I don't know. Clearly this is just a ramble, but these are the types of things that go along in my brain where I'm overly opinionated about nothing. Um, and I probably don't have all the facts, and I probably just whatever, but it's my show, so I can do whatever the fuck I want. Anyway, and no one's ever gonna listen to this anyway, so I can just, whatever. I'm not sure about the time because I had to leave and come back. So let me just talk for maybe about 5-ish more minutes, and then we'll stop the episode. So give me just a few minutes to find something to talk about. All right, this is kind of like the same little bit as last time, but I want to talk about TikTok and like the idea of like TikTok e-boys and like e-girls, because I think that's really interesting. I'm not going to, reinstate everything I just said about queer culture and blah, 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 but apply that same meaning to what I'm about to say. But about it is that they're essentially just copying uh, emo culture. Or here's what I think they're actually doing. I take that back. Like, here's what I think they're actually doing. They're placing value in things that did not have value before, so therefore people have finally realized the value in the unvalued, if that makes sense. So I was talking about this the other day on my Snapchat story about how one of the looks that I looked up, I was just looking at, I got a new pair of shoes and I wanted to look up, what outfits could possibly go with it that would maybe look nice. And I read into like e-boy and e-girl stuff. And I looked at the clothes, and I wore those exact same clothes, like maybe like 10 years ago, or like maybe in high school, I wore those exact same clothes. And like growing up, I wore those same clothes. And all they did was just have the confidence to pull it off. It makes no sense. What they did is they essentially just took a hoodie and a pair of pants and then tried to add value to it and say that it's more than it is, and it's just a hoodie and a pair of pants. And that got me realizing that a lot of the I mean, I kind of knew that before, of course, but it kind of just, amplified it, is that we, you know, for fashion and things like that, it's all confidence. It's all about wearing what you are confidently gonna wear. Um, and for e-boy and e-girl stuff, they're literally just taking an old t-shirt, maybe from a thrift store, and then putting it on like a pair of jeans. And most people wear those in Western society. Every part of it is just something that Western people wear. They just added maybe a few more elements to make it look a little bit chic. I don't know. I don't know the word for it, the fashion term, make it look more than it is. And then they get so popular over it. But the thing is like people wore that a long time ago and they didn't get popular about it. So I don't know. It's just very interesting. And here's another thing that like I really just don't like. And because I'm not from any other culture other than America, I can't really talk about it, in other forms. But a lot of, I mean, I know this exists, but the whole like whitewashing thing of like how almost every single star on TikTok is white, and how almost every single celebrity that makes it big is white, and how every position is held by white people. But I feel like it's fundamentally what makes up TikTok is that it's just a lot of white people dressing in those types of clothes who are just regular people, but they make a few funny jokes and then they're popular. Um, and I guess that's good for them, but I don't really see the point in it. It's, in 5 years, they're going to be nobody. So it's nice, I guess, that they can live up their fame now if that's what they want. But I guess that, they're just living their best life. I don't know. That's something I'm not haven't formed a big opinion on other than just, a surface level opinion. Um, all right, I think I have like a few more minutes. Sorry, this episode in particular has just been a lot of opinions everywhere and a lot of rambling. But it's just been on my mind, so I guess I wanted to talk about it. Um, for the last little bit, I guess we'll talk about Christmas because it's going to be in a few days. Um, and what I enjoy about Christmas, because I think I maybe mentioned it, but I didn't talk about it fully. Um, how I enjoy Christmas is being around people doing special things. And my favorite part about Christmas is because of winter weather, because winter weather is just so, I feel renewed. People say in the spring they feel renewed. I think that's bullshit because okay, we'll talk about this. We'll talk about seasons for the last little bit. People who like summer, I'm sorry, you're the side character of the story. People who like spring, you're the character that assists the side character. You're nothing. I'm going to call you out on it. You're nothing. And you essentially just play into the fact that you like things to be soft and comfortable, but in a comfortable that is just nasty. I don't know how to explain it other than that. That's my feeling about people who like summer and spring. Because summer, right? Summer aligns with the idea of hot, heat, the sun blaring, feeling energized by the fucking heat from the sun. What's wrong with you people? That doesn't make any sense. You're not a fucking plant. Like, whatever. So the reason why I think winter is superior and fall is okay. So where I go from is winter is at the top, fall is in the second, and then the spring is third, and then summer is fourth. Which most side characters, who I'm calling out right now, theirs would probably be summer at the top, spring second, autumn third, and then winter fourth, which is a bunch of bullshit. Anyway, so why winter is so superior is because you feel clean. You don't feel like that in the summertime. You feel like you're fucking sweating in your own drool or something. So, and for spring, you feel spring, you have allergies. You have constant fluctuations in weather. It can be cold one day, it can be rainy another day, it can be snowing another day, it can be, hot another day. That makes no goddamn sense. And then fall is beautiful enough. However, everyone starts to get so materialistic. And then this is where people ruin winter. This is honestly, I'm glad most people don't like winter because y'all ruin it. Because summer people ruin winter, but winter people don't ruin summer. Let me tell you that for a second. Winter people do not ruin summer. Summer people ruin winter. I said it. And winter is a time of reflection, is a time of contemplation, it's a time where you can feel renewed and cleaned by looking outside and feeling the cold weather. It brushes all of the bad things off of you. It gives you life. It breathes new, fresh air into your body. It everything starts anew. Like spring is supposed to be a time where it starts anew. I say winter is a time where it starts anew because everything has a blank slate. In the springtime, everything starts to pop up. The color's already there. It's like you're painting something and you have a white canvas already. But in the wintertime, the white canvas is there, so you're starting something. You don't start something whenever you have half the painting already with all the colors on the painting. That's not when you start the painting. You start it from a blank slate. So that's another thing. Winter people do not ruin summer. Summer people ruin winter. And ideally, what I mean is extroverts ruin everything. Introverts ruin nothing. Except for when extroverts make us ruin stuff. And I think a perfect example of that is the pandemic. Introverts are not the people going around spreading the virus. I'm going to say it. It's a statement. It's a brave, controversial statement. I'm going to say it because introverts are the people who do not appreciate the overzealousness of people outside, the over exaggerations, the fakeness, the smiles, the unnecessary contact between people, other than to please other people and to please yourself for selfish desires. That's an extrovert, what I just described. By the way, I'm coming for extroverts because I think they're worthless people. And because the majority of extroverts, I'm talking about people who are truly extroverts, who get their sole point of living from other people. I think you are subpar humans. And that's my overly stated opinion. But because extroverts are the ones who force people to do things in order for themselves to feel better. Introverts don't do that. Introverts gain insight and happiness from themselves and then help teach it to people. Whereas extroverts are the types of people who gain insight from others and try and spread it around everywhere, like a virus. So that's just my thoughts. Yeah, I think I offended enough people today. I don't have anything else to say. I will leave you with this. Summer people ruin winter. Winter people do not ruin summer. And with that, I hope you have a Merry, Merry Christmas. Go outside, wear a fucking mask, and enjoy the winter time. Okay, goodbye.